this is a very kind of talking to the choir. Like everybody is aware of discrimination, everybody here is aware of caste-based discrimination. So I'm not going to speak much about that part. But what I would like to share are a few things about the Mahaparinirvan Divas itself. That everybody now has a story of the Mahaparinirvan Divas. Now, the Chaitya Bhumi itself has become a site for international attention. People, because of social media, there is more attention that is now given to Chaitya Bhumi. You have now millions of people who come and gather and offer their, respect to Baba Saheb Ambedkar at the Chaitya Bhumi in Dadar. So this is now a story that is well known. But what is slightly not known is that during the death of Ambedkar, this particular site was not the first choice for what it has become now. There were one or two more sites where the nationalist Tilak was also cremated, but obviously that site was refused, and there were 2-3 other sites. So even this site, which the Ambedkarites managed to even put the last remains of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, is fought with a massive battle, so it did not come easily. But that is one part of the story which is kind of, one can say, okay, this is a story about discrimination. But if you really look at the historical movement of this particular day in Bombay city, this is a spectacle which probably India has never witnessed. The kind of followers and the kind of luminaries that attended the funeral is probably not recorded in history yet. Of course, the scholars are to blame for it. But if you look at the entire journey of Baba Saheb, once he passed away, from Delhi to Bombay, from each and every station, how the followers, they gathered just to offer floral tributes. Then there are memoirs of people wanting to apply for a leave on the day Baba Saheb passed away because they felt that somebody from their home passed away. But on the day itself, you have some famous Marathi literary figure who was actually comparing on All India Radio the events that were happening in Dadar. You have the best of the progressive people who not necessarily were always part of anti-caste tradition. They were very much present to give tribute to Baba Saheb. Of course, I will need some other day to talk especially about this event. But I'm just giving you here a glimpse that his passing away was a big event which India has not witnessed, and it was not sponsored by the state. And that is probably the only reason, I believe, that he remains the only leader from the 20th century who continues to remember by the people. And this remembrance is not organized by any state-funded institutions. So in this program as well, this is a very community effort. What is happening in Chaitya Bhumi is a community effort. Now politicians are coming, political parties are coming. But if you look objectively, there is no political or social figure from 20th century who participated during the colonial times, who continues to attract masses, and they are growing every year. And in that regard, I think sociologically and historically, this is an absolutely important event. Even abroad, there is no Indian figure who is remembered every year in different parts of the country. I have lived in United Kingdom, I was in Germany, I am now here visiting at Stanford, but I can see that such programs are constantly organized by community efforts. Last week I was in Los Angeles to attend the Constitution Day celebration. Again, a community effort. So therefore, this particular kind of energy that is there has to be appreciated. And therefore, first of all, I would really like to congratulate you once again for this absolutely wonderful organization of this event. Now, of course, we are living in different times, interestingly. Now, Dr. Ambedkar is now appropriated by the government. Now, government is making this also an official holiday. Jai Bhim has become sort of secular slogan. Every Tom, Dick and Harry is now saying Jai Bhim. Although they may not really mean it, but they're still saying it. There is a political currency to it. So we have to be careful about who says Jai Bhim and whether their actions also mean that or not. Because it has become fashionable now that you just say Delhi. So I'm a little skeptic about that part. But what we have is a legacy now. And there is a very long legacy that we have to live up to. The first kind of legacy is to fight against all kinds of caste-based discrimination at every level. And what we just had here was a skit which showed that this is a very high-level corporate office, highly educated people, and caste-based kind of norms and prejudices prevails, and therefore they need to be fought. I was happy to see that the positive ending was shown both by the upper caste women here and the employer. But we all know in reality that does not happen. But this is also the vision coming probably from the new Buddhist tradition, that we have to look for a positive, that at some day this day will also come where we will have actual solidarity, not just in terms of words, but also in terms of actions. Babasaheb Ambedkar probably was one of the first to actually talk about economic discrimination. And I have studied extensively the Bombay textile mills, and he was the one who raised the issue of Dalits, the untouchables. We can disagree with the category for now, but they were not allowed to work in the weaving departments in the Bombay textile mills. And he was the first one to raise the voice that this cannot happen. And he stood firm on this demand. He made several efforts. But the point here is that right now we are talking about discrimination at workplace, but we have a long history of fighting to enter the workplace, to make it more democratic. Of course, there he fought for political representation, education, employment, you are all aware of. And from Kalaram temple to Buddhism, there is a long journey. Now, what should Ambedkarites do? And what exactly is the legacy that needs to be carried? I think part of the thing you are already doing. You are making big efforts in terms of the awareness of the problem of caste in the United States. The Indians, whether they have left India even after 5,000 miles, 20 years, 30 years, they continue to embrace those kind of prejudicial views, and they also discriminate. This is a free land, or this is supposed to be the free land, but yet several of us who have the untouchable past continue to be troubled by these kind of past. Equality bill in the United Kingdom is very much carried forward by the Ambedkarites groups in the United Kingdom. The Californians, the Ambedkarite Californians, very much stood for the law here. Unfortunately, that didn't go through. But it actually demonstrated that the community is very much around and it is very much open. It does not have the support of these big corporates, and it does not require. As long as the masses are aware of these, and I really was looking forward to this California passing the law of recognizing caste as an important category. And I hope at some point where political calculations change, and this is what we have to learn from Ambedkar, that the numbers or the entire situation was never in favor of the anti-caste movement, particularly the Ambedkarite movement. But these are separate special movements where you seize the opportunity and you make best of it. Because this is not necessarily going to happen. The last thing is also about creating institutions which actually can sustain that legacy. Because these programs are important for meetings, to have a solidarity, fraternity, but also we need institutions. We need somebody, just mentioned that there is this Buddha Vihara happening. This is a good institution, but Ambedkar also started several colleges and several higher educational institutions, law colleges. Milind College is a very important legacy. And I think if the Ambedkarites of California can also work towards building a great educational institutions, that would be nothing like it. And I'm pretty confident that the way this kind of mobilization is happening for so many years, and something nice will crystallize, and we will of course have Buddha Vihara, we also have our Rajendasi temple, we have various institutions, and I'm sure that sooner we will also have a great educational college or a university which will actually propagate the views of equality, fraternity and liberty which Babasaheb Ambedkar propagated his entire life. Thank you and Jai Hind.